Good morning, y'all. Woo. I was driving and I had an epiphany and I wanted to share it with y'all. I'm sorry this lighting looks a little bit strange, but it's because like the sun is right hitting my face right there. So I think a lot of us, remember we talked about last week that we're not graceful with ourselves. And sometimes that grace presents itself as something else. Mental health and self-care are the new buzz terms. Not that they have not always been necessary, but recently they've gotten more notoriety and people are paying more attention to them. But I think in paying more attention, we're kind of overusing a lot of terms. I told y'all 2-3 episodes ago that we overuse the word crazy, we overuse the word depression, we overuse anxiety, we overuse so many things, not realizing that there are people who are living with very, very real diagnoses. And when we overpresent those things, we create other issues because then, the other people who need it don't get the help that we need. A lot of us create anxiety for ourselves. So when you are medicating, a lot of people who smoke weed really do have some form of mental illness, and then they are self-medicating because of that. And I always advise against it. I advise everybody to talk to a professional before you start to medicate yourself, because sometimes there are just things in your life that you need to change. So what I was getting around to was the anxiety component of it. Many of us have been through so many traumatic experiences in our lives that we develop PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And when we post-traumatic stress disorder, when we develop post-traumatic stress disorder, we don't really consider that it could be something from a bad relationship. It could be something from a bad job. It could be a bad experience behind the wheel of a car. These types of things present themselves as illness because we think we're sick. Some people who experience anxiety have actual physical symptoms. They have stomach aches, headaches, they need to sit down, they get lightheaded, and it's all caused by emotional triggers in their lives because it's trauma that they haven't necessarily dealt with. The trick about anxiety is that it presents itself as you don't know what's going to happen next. So it's like you're always about to get on a roller coaster. That's how you feel. You feel like you're about to get on a roller coaster and the roller coaster never comes. So you just continue to wait for it. One of my best friends told me a few years ago, when you're always anticipating something wrong to happen, wrong will find you. And many of the people who are, putting this onto themselves and manifesting this energy for themselves don't even realize it, because it's like, no, I'm worried because I should be worried. I'm stressed because I should be stressed. This is a stressful situation. What if it's not? What if it's not a stressful situation? What if you shouldn't be worried at all and you are making yourself I remember when I was a child and I would do this. And my granny would tell me, "You worrying about nothing." And I would say, "This is something." Like, what do you mean? What do you not understand? This is something very serious. But sometimes when those physical things manifest, we chalk it up to being tired. We chalk it up to not understanding something. We chalk it up to somebody else's fault. When in reality, we are making ourselves sick. And when you make yourself sick, it's hard to get unsick when you don't know what's wrong with you. So when we are putting these unrealistic diagnoses on ourselves, or self-diagnosis, and we're saying, well, I have depression. Do you really? Do you really have depression? Or do you just have the inability to select people in your life who make you happy? Maybe you're sad, not because you don't have the inability to be happy, but because you're putting yourself in unhappy situations. Oh, I have anxiety. Do you really? Do you really have anxiety? Or are you continuously putting yourself into the same positions that cause you to be afraid? If you are have a history of being in abusive relationships and you get another abusive boyfriend, that's not anxiety. You are anticipating something bad's going to happen because you're putting yourself in a potentially bad situation. Those things are really, really crucial when we are trying to figure out what's wrong with us, because in order to heal yourself, you have to find out what's making you sick. A lot of us are making ourselves sick. A lot of us are not holding ourselves accountable for the pain that we feel, for the fear that we feel, for the sadness that we feel. And that causes a problem. Don't give yourself so much grace that you're not acknowledging that you are the person holding the gun. So when we have this emotional PTSD and we are constantly anticipating something bad is going to happen, we don't allow room for good things to happen to us. And I say that because when you are constantly, if you think your boyfriend is going to cheat on you because he's cheated in the past, and you're constantly checking his phone, you're popping up at his job, you are telling your friends to send him messages, just all kinds of crazy stuff, child. It's a lot of stuff going on out here. And when he does cheat, you say, see, I told you, I knew it. But it's not necessarily that you knew it. You were anticipating. You were anticipating because you were not healed from the first time that he did it, or the second time, or the 30th time, or whatever. And then you manifested it again. So the blame goes to him, yes, but the blame also goes to you for not removing yourself from an anxious situation. So that's what I have for y'all today. But thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Emotional PTSD is real. But in order to heal, we have to stop making ourselves sick. Have a very blessed day, Wildflowers, and I appreciate you for sitting with me today. Bye.